It's time for Dodger baseball.
What's going on, Dodgers Nation? Welcome to the Dodgers Nation post-game show after the Dodgers defeat the Colorado Rockies. They made things a little interesting there, but the Dodgers get it done. They win by a final score of 5-2. They improved to 4-2. They improved to 4-2 on the year, and it was very interesting at the end. You had Phil Bickford come out to pitch the ninth. He couldn't get it done. Evan Phillips, he comes in, was a little shaky, hits a batter, and then they load the bases. They get 2 runs, 2 hits there in the top of the ninth. Thankfully, the Dodgers had enough insurance runs, but we're going to break everything down, all the key plays, my big takeaways. We're going to throw out grades. We're going to ask the question, are the Dodgers too homer happy? The Dodgers very home run reliant to start the year. You saw another big 3 home runs today for the Dodgers. Jason Hayward hit his second home run in as many nights. Will Smith hit another bomb. He was fantastic, 3 RBIs. And then Max Muncy, who had been struggling mightily, the return of the Max Muncy, he has a big night. So we're going to break it all down, but first things first, let me know where you're representing Dodgers Nation from. Give me those cities down below in the comment section. Also, I'm looking for all your fire takes, and when I see a fire take, you know what you're going to get. You're going to see one of these.
Fire take.
And then if you got some comment of the night potential, if you give me a comment of the night, you're going to see one of these.
You win.
Okay, so let's get right into this comment section. Give me all your reaction, all your thoughts, all your big takeaways from the Dodgers. 5-2 win over the Colorado Rockies. They sweep the Rockies' little 2-game series. And this Rockies team, they're terrible. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the league, projected to win around 67 wins. And the Dodgers did what good teams are supposed to do. They beat up on a bad team. The Dodgers, they outscore the Rockies 19-6 this series, and they got the job done. They really outslugged the Rockies. The Julio Urias, he was a little shaky early on. He was dealing with traffic, but he ended up cruising. He ends up retiring the last 11 batters he faced. We're going to break down his whole outing. We're going to throw out grades. But first, give me that city where you're repping from. Give me any big takeaways, any fire takes. Also, let's start things off with player of the game. Who is your Dodgers player of the game for tonight? But here, let's jump into that comment section. Trace Hayward season 2022 first post-game show with the win. Let's go. Hey, if you watch Blue Heaven on Monday, what'd I say? I said, you joined me right after the game, and we're going to be celebrating a Dodgers win. I was calling my shot. I was like Joe Namath. I was like Babe Ruth telling a sick kid in the hospital he's going to hit a home run for him. I was out there guaranteeing this win because, look, I have confidence in this team. And we're also going to get into some injury updates because one of my other big takeaways was Mookie Betts colliding with Jason Hayward there in the 8th inning. Was a little gimpy when he got up, and when he ended up scoring the Dodgers insurance run there in the 9th inning, it almost looked like Dino Abel kind of had to hold up Freddie Freeman because Freddie Freeman was gaining on him. So I'm very interested to see what Dave Roberts has to say about Mookie Betts. I'm sure it's going to be nothing. I might be a little sore, but didn't look like it was serious because he was able to come out there and produce and really help the Dodgers add on a much-needed insurance run there. But he'll jump into the comment section. We'll start breaking everything down. By the way, if you haven't yet, give me that city, give me any hot takes you got, and also who's your player of the game. Because this one, it's an interesting player of the game. One of the close. Sometimes it's really obvious. Sometimes it's kind of a debate. And today, I think you can make a case for, of course, Will Smith, who had 3 big RBIs. He goes 2 for 4 again, 2 extra base hits, had another home run, another double. Max Muncy, he goes 2 for 4. He's a guy that got robbed for a walk there at the end. We're going to talk about Jordan Baker, who I don't know if you need Braille on that home plate on the dish there, but he was making bad calls all night. He must have had dinner reservations or something because he was really hosing the Dodgers late there. Trace Thompson on a pitch that was clearly inside. He rung up Max Muncy on a curveball, though, that was clearly off the plate outside. So we're going to get into his night. But here we go. Urias fire from Alfonso Lucio. Adam, we scored more than one. That's from YouTube. Yeah, this has been a roller coaster of a offensive start to the season for the Dodgers, and over 60% of their runs are coming via the home run ball. So it was nice to see a run manufactured without the home run ball there late, but you still saw the slug. And what I always say, if you want the dub, you've got to slug. And when you outslug your opponent, you win games at over an 80% clip when it comes to hitting home runs, when it comes to hitting doubles and triples. So, yeah, this team, that's really been the recipe of their success. You saw Mookie Betts, he got thrown out early in the game trying to steal second. You've seen a lot of Dodgers get thrown out trying to steal second, and one of the reasons that they haven't been very aggressive on the base pass in recent seasons is if you look at run value, it really hurts your chances. You don't don't want to give up outs. You want to keep base runners on board because that's how you get those big innings. The Dodgers always play for the slug, and it's led to the most wins in baseball since 2015. So their recipe is definitely working for them, and their formula has been successful. So I don't want the Dodgers to get caught up in trying to steal too many bases because if you look at the numbers, they indicate that trying to steal bases does not improve your chances when you compare that to trying to slug. But I do think you got to find a happy medium there. But here we go. This is what I'm talking about. They finally promised after a win. Great job, D-Mac. D-Cam, there you go. D-Mac, what up, D-Cam, over on YouTube. We got Peter Proman first. We got Joe Mama. What up, D-Mac? What up, Joe Mama? I like that. I like that screen name. Username. We got Craig Osterberg. Hayward, a defensive stopper. No, yeah, look, there's never been any doubt about Jason Hayward's ability with the glove. He's a Gold Glove award-winning defender. The only question was, is he going to be able to shorten that stroke? Is he going to be able to catch up with high-velocity pitching? Well, tonight, Jason Hayward was fantastic. I mean, Hayward goes on the night, he ended up finishing... He goes 1 for 3, had another home run, had an RBI, and he was hitting the ball hard all night long. So, yeah, we're going to talk about his night and kind of what that means because Miguel Vargas, he is supposed to be back, and Dave Roberts told reporters before the game that that thumb is a little numb. It's kind of affecting how he's swinging that bat. He said it's still a little tender, but there is no fracture in that thumb for Miguel Vargas. But if he does have to miss some time, and even during the course of the season, you're going to feel better about having Mookie Betts play second base when you know you have all the depth in the outfield with Jason Hayward, with James Outman playing well. Trayce Thompson had the big 3 home run game. You have Chris Taylor, who is playing shortstop tonight. And one of the big reasons for that is we had Miguel Rojas, who he was out with that groin injury. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to follow this entire season, who stays healthy and who gets banged up. But the Dodgers' outfield depth is definitely a strength that they have. The ump was bad tonight. Amen to that. Hallelujah. That's a fire take. I'm telling you, man, did the plate have wheels on it? Because if you look at some of the calls late in that game, I mean, he was squeezing pitchers all night long. And we're talking about pitches that are 4 or 5 inches off the plate. And when you're talking about guys like Max Muncy, guys like Trayce Thompson, who are trying to really find their footing early on in this season, he won each and every walk that you can have. And that's one thing that this team has done well, is they've taken their free passes. And that's why whenever we do get the robo-ump in Major League Baseball, the Dodgers are going to benefit more than any team out there because they do practice plate discipline. We saw a couple instances tonight where the Dodgers were chasing at pitches outside of the zone, and yeah, sometimes that does occur, but still, I mean, for the most part, Dodgers are taking really good at bats. Chris Taylor had that swing and miss outside of the zone for a strikeout in the 5th inning. But let's jump right into the action, guys, and I'm very curious to see who you guys have as your picks for player of the game. Slugging is the best from Justin Lamas. I hope Mookie's okay. Yeah, everyone get everyone maybe a little prayer emoji, whatever you want to do, some well wishes for Mookie. Looks like Dave is starting to learn. Yeah, I like the way you saw a pretty quick hook there on Phil Bickford, who clearly didn't have it early on in this one and really was missing with command, leaving stuff out over the plate. And you go to Evan Phillips and you have him get those final 3 outs, or those final outs in the game. And then you also turn to Brusdar Graterol earlier in the 8th inning. We should have seen that in the Sunday loss to the Diamondbacks. We should have probably seen that flip-flop where you have Evan Phillips. He was facing the bottom of the order. Instead, you put out Brusdar Graterol to face the top of the order and get those final 3 outs in the 9th inning. So, yeah, I think the bullpen management was better. I think Caleb Ferguson was a little shaky at times. You saw him really struggle with command, struggle to get ahead of hitters. But, yeah, I mean, the defense, too, you got to give a credit to a lot of big key double plays. But yeah, let's get into the action, guys. Couple more comments here. We'll start breaking it all down. Bloomington, Indiana from Jared Myers. We got Lincoln, Nebraska. I love Belly, but Hayward will have a better season than him. That's from Travis Calderwood. Look, say what you want. I mean, Cody Bellinger is starting to put together some hits, had his first home run the other day. I think Jason Hayward at this age, if he can continue to do this, and if he can it's still very, very early on this season, and we'll see. One thing that Jason Hayward told me in the clubhouse when I was talking to him is the difference now with his swing is it's a shorter stroke. It's more of a compact stroke, and it allows him to make adjustments on the fly. And that was one of the issues that he struggled with, was that swing was so long in Chicago that when he was struggling, he really didn't have any answers. And I think you're going to see him turn on pitches, make some quicker adjustments, and when he does have those slumps, hopefully those slumps don't last very long. So that is the hope with Jason Heyward, but it's very interesting. But let me know down below in the comment section, who do you think is going to have a better year, Jason Heyward or Cody Bellinger? Who do you think will have more home runs? I still probably would say Cody Bellinger is going to have more home runs than Jason Heyward, just because I think Cody Bellinger is going to get more opportunities. I think that Cubs team is really not expected to compete there in the NL Central, and then, of course, for this Dodgers team, you do have that depth in the outfield. Will you see Jason Heyward out there each and every day when you have Trayce Thompson, when you have Chris Taylor, when you have David Peralta, when you have the out man of the hour, James Outman. So I still think that Jason Heyward, though, is going to provide a big boost for this team. So here we go. Heyward got another dinger. That's from DKM. Steve Agor, I know they won tonight, but they still are living and dying by the home run. There is no situational hitting, and this is what kills us when we get to October. Yeah, Steve, I talked about that in the podcast on Monday, is that this team, they lead Major League Baseball with 13 home runs, but they are reliant on the home run for over 60% of their runs this season. 37, 38 runs this year, 13 home runs. You see a lot of the RBIs come via that home run. And yes, that is a way to achieve success during the regular season, but if you do hit a cold spell in the postseason, especially in a short series like the NLDS, if God forbid they have to play in the wild card series, if you don't have the ability to go manufacture a run and really shorten up that approach, shorten up that stroke plate to try to hit to all fields and really just try to get runners on and get them over and get them in, that to me is one of the things that is concerning. Now, when the slug is there and you have a lineup that's built for that, it's understandable. And this lineup has guys that are capable of leaving the yard. You do have Max Muncy, you have Mookie Betts, who had a career-high 35 home runs last season, and then you also have Freddie Freeman. He's had 38 home runs in the past, had 21 last season. We know JD Martinez in his heyday, he's a guy that has left the yard at a very prolific rate. So I still think this team has guys that can slug, and James Outman, we'll see if he can continue his hot hitting all season long. But I do think that you definitely want to encourage a different approach during certain situations, because one thing about this Dodgers team is in the postseason, it's common sense, right? You are going to be facing better competition. Better competition usually equals better pitchers. So in that sense, you can't leave the yard on every great pitcher, on every great team in this league. So yeah, I definitely think that it's something that should be a point of emphasis early on this year, especially when you factor in the restricted shift. There are more opportunities to get base hits where you don't have to leave the yard, where you don't rely on launch angle. Look, if you have a golf bag, you don't want to have just drivers, right? You want to have other clubs in those bags, and I agree with your point. I think that one thing that's going to change that, though, is and this is just something that's been popping into my head last few days, is I think that it's a matter of personnel as well, and you want to really go out there and possibly add another bat. And I think when I see Mookie Betts and you see he's added 9 pounds of muscle, and the fact that he's hitting for power more than really he ever has in his career, and I think that he hasn't even really gotten hot yet, I think that for this lineup to really be optimized, I would like to see Mookie Betts possibly move down as more of a run producer. Like Freddie Freeman, I talked about this as a possibility maybe later in the season. And then maybe if you can add another leadoff hitter, and we'll see Miguel Rojas, who he's banged up already early on the season. He's 34 years old. If there is a Tim Anderson out there, a guy that doesn't rely on slug and get his bat on the ball, I think Tim Anderson, if the White Sox tank and they're looking to move guys, he's one of the first names that I would look at, because he's still under one more year of team control. So that's a name that I would consider. So maybe it's also a personnel issue. So if you get guys that are more well-rounded and more dynamic as far as their hitting approach, that's going to encourage what you want to accomplish there. So here we go. Phillips should have started the inning. That's from Craig Osterberg. I don't know, a 5-run lead against the lowly Rockies team. I'm okay, especially when you consider that they want Phil Bickford to be that guy. I mean, I call him Diet Thor, Thin Thor. Someone called him Phil Billy on my Twitter. I thought that was pretty funny. Phil Bickford is a guy that he was second on the team in appearances last season with 60 behind Craig Crumble. Check that, Craig Kimbrell. And the Dodgers could use an arm out of him. I mean, maybe he's just a back of your bullpen guy when everyone's healthy, but still, I think in that situation early on in the year, I have no issue with Phil Bickford starting that inning. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? So let's jump into the key plays. And by the way, you're going to wait for the takeaways and the grades. We're going to get into that. And I'm still looking for that comment of the night. Who's got a comment of the night? You see one of these Dodgers fan from Houston, Ethan Nugo, over there on YouTube. You're in Houston. Yeah, man. Hey, go bang a trash can for me. Adam, Julio, or Will Smith for getting it started. Okay, yeah. We're going to talk about Julio's outing. Had some thoughts on that I want to get into. Need to extend Urias, Joe Mama. Yeah, in a perfect world, it would be great if tomorrow you had a Deus out there and you had Scott Boras and Julio Urias and Andrew Friedman announcing an extension for him, but that's not going to happen. You will not see an in-season extension for Julio Urias. That's just not how Scott Boras plays the game. Yes, there are some examples. You have the Jose Altuve deal and things like that, but we know that the goal is for Julio Urias to get to free agency and test those waters, create a little bidding war with the big teams out there, and he's going to get paid. Look, wherever Shohei Ohtani goes, that's going to dictate and set the market. When a team that maybe wanted Shohei Ohtani doesn't get him, Julio Urias is going to be sitting right there as a premier starting pitcher. So, yeah, I just don't anticipate that at any point. But Joe Bennett, so funny. Manny Machado got struck out by the pitch clock and gets ejected. Yeah, did you see that? And did you see he was saying douchebag? Like someone was mad. I think my friend Danny Vietti over on Twitter, he did the lip reading where we found he was saying douchebag. But Huntington Beach, Francisco Ramirez over on YouTube in the house. We got Hayward is trying to sabotage the season. WTF is he doing out there? That's from Gary A. I don't know what you're talking about there. I think the wind was a factor there on him getting to the ball there late in this one. But my player of the game is Will Smith early on in the season. I mean, he's really looking like it's not about, forget an all-star season for Will Smith. Really, it's about an MVP season for Will Smith. He was my pick to win the World Series MVP for the Dodgers, but it looks like if he can continue at this pace, I mean, this is a guy in Will Smith that he's just gotten off to a fantastic start this year, and that's exactly what you were hoping for him, because last year actually got off to a little bit of a slow start at the beginning of the season, and then he really picked things up as the year progressed. But yeah, Will Smith, I mean, what more can you say about the guy? He's really just, I mean, it seems like anytime he's even getting out, it's usually by hard contact. He's not even seeing very many pitches to hit. I mean, they're pitching him on the edges right outside, but yeah, he's been really outstanding so far this season. Smitty, the clutch prince, has gone 8 for 19 with 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, 2 doubles, just 2 strikeouts in those 19 at-bats, OPSing 1478. So, yeah, I mean, Will Smith, I mean, he's right up there with some of the league leaders in tons of different offensive categories. But, yeah, do you guys think Will Smith can maintain this? Do you think he could be a legitimate MVP candidate this season? Let me know down below in the comment section. But here we go, guys. Yeah, stick around. We're going to get into the action here. So, yeah, let's start things off right there. 2-2 right there in the first inning. So 2-2 pitch to Mookie Betts. He singles to center. A few batters later, 1-0 pitch. Will Smith, he crushes a homer to left for a 2-run shot. His third of the year. Slider that caught a little too much of the plate. That made it 2-0 Dodgers early on. And yeah, just a great piece of hitting there by Will Smith. He's able to hit one out, and that puts the Dodgers on top early. So you're feeling good about that, giving Julio Urias a little run support early on. We got Adrian Salazar. We want Shohei Phoenix into house. Doug, what up, Adrian, over on YouTube? Joe Bennett, Manny Machado strikes out due to a pitch clock violation and gets ejected, and the Diamondbacks come from behind and win 8-6. Thanks for that update. So that puts the Dodgers right on top there, right? The NL West. Justin Namas, Doug nailed it. Doug, stolen bases are bad, giving away outs. Yeah, I mean, I think, look, I mean, they trust the analytics on that one, right? David Feldman, the Dodgers are still good. Chicks dig the long balls from Gary A. Yeah, that's a fire take. Are we over luxury tax? Chase, yes, we are over the luxury tax, and we will be over the CBT, the competitive balance threshold, for the entire season. Andrew Friedman has already said this team has no intention of going under, and really, what would you do? Maybe try to package a Chris Taylor with a prospect with 3 years remaining on that contract, essentially maybe ship off a Blake Treiner, Max Muncy. You're really not going to be able to do that, and I don't think from an optics standpoint that would sit well to a fan base that just sat through a team losing to the Padres in the NLDS and winning just one game after winning a franchise record 111 games. Look, the Dodgers are the only 110-plus win team to not even make it to the league championship series. So, yeah, I don't think that would sit well. And also, too, when you consider the championship window with Julio Urias and Clayton Kershaw, Freddie, and Mookie, you definitely want to go for it this season. But Lux is out. That's from DKM. We need to sign the man from Japan. Yeah, you saw my video on Roki Sasaki. Yeah, go over, and if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit those notification buttons, too, so you'll always be up to date whenever we're dropping a video. I dropped a video with my conversation with Dodgers analyst Jose Mota, and we talked about Shohei Ohtani. We talked about Roki Sasaki, who can't get posted until he's 27, but this guy's an absolute phenom, and he's going to be a superstar one day in the show. I mean, he's already a superstar in Japan, but yeah, go check for that. I'm dropping part 2 and 3 of that interview where Jose and we dive into the starting rotation and the lineup and some of the big questions surrounding that, so look for those tomorrow. We got, by the way, Doug, I'm the only guy who hates the pitch clock. When people say they want more balls in play and that BS, I mean, look, what's up, Diane? Hi, guys. To me, I think the pitch clock, it's here to stay, and that's the most important thing. Games are faster, and like I talked about on Monday, baseball, as far as its popularity, it peaked in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. In that stretch, games are around 2 hours and 30 minutes. So you want to get back to that from a popularity standpoint. Look, guys are just going to have to adjust. I think I would be fine with just better concessions, getting fans what they want. And yeah, sometimes it does feel like you have to choose between beer or baseball, a Dodger dog or baseball, because before you blink, it feels like you come back and it's the 4th or 5th inning. But fans will adjust. Baseball's a game of adjustments. Life's a game of adjustments, and the pitch clock is no different. But D-Mac, I'm going to say some unpopular facts. Muncy is a liability defensively and horrible at the plate, even though he hit a home run. Replace Muncy with Rojas, Luke Williams, or Bush. Roy Estrada. That's a hot take right there. I think you saw Max Muncy. He definitely did have his issues defensively today. It was not a good night for him defensively. You saw there in the 3rd inning when it was the bunt play with Daza. Yeah, he definitely struggled. He thought Julio Urias was going to get to it, but he really just kind of paused and he hesitated, and it cost him in that stretch. And then in the 7th inning, it definitely in the 7th inning there when Montero, he just hit a ground ball to him. He struggled to backhand it, kind of took a high hop. Yeah, that definitely wasn't a good play either. Yeah, so defensively it was not his best night. He kind of was bailed out by some double plays. But yeah, I think when you look at him at the plate offensively, though, I mean, today should have been 2 for 4 with the home run with an extra walk there, and he has been hitting the ball hard. So yeah, I mean, Max Muncy, I mean, he started the year going 1 for 16 with 9 strikeouts. He had the platinum sombrero, the Olympic rings 5 strikeout game, but he had a big night. He had a single in the first, and that was on an 0-2 pitch, and an opposite field single on a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. So him using all fields, that's definitely an encouraging sign. And then on that 3-1 count, he homered on that 4-seam fastball off of Marquez. And the important thing there was he got himself into a hitter's count. He had been falling behind in the count and kind of chasing there late in counts, but the plate discipline is still A1, and I still think that Max Muncy, they needed Max Muncy to produce. Look, Michael Busch has potential. Max Muncy is a proven 30 home run guy in this league. Luke Williams, no. The chances of a guy coming up at this stage of Michael Busch and Luke Williams coming up and being able to produce like Max Muncy has proven that he can produce in the past, it's extremely unlikely. I mean, sometimes it's just the shiny new toy down there. It's like the Family Guy episode where it's the mystery box, and he just wants the mystery box even though he has the sure thing in the boat. So, yeah, I think that for me, there's no question about it. You got to stick with Max Muncy. There's a reason why they're still batting him in that cleanup spot, because they believe in him. But here we go. Will Smith is unlimited. I like that. That's a comment of the night. Shout out to Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited. Joe Def over on YouTube. I'm going to say it all night now. Mr. Unlimited. DK, where the hell is Yanni Hernandez? Isn't he supposed to be called up? I love Yanni. Yeah, he was a Yan. Look, I mean, he was Yan Fire during spring training, a real Yan base machine, but I just don't think that they're at that point. I think he's one of those guys that was that kind of first line of depth down at the minor league level, and if Miguel Rojas has to miss significant time or they lose another infielder, yeah, he will get an opportunity, but yeah, he's really struggled at the plate. He has never proven that he can hit big league pitching, but yeah, I mean, if it comes to that, I mean, he did show some signs, some flashes there during spring training. But yeah, then jump into the Yeah, so we're going to talk about Julio Urias' outing, too. Give me your thoughts on Julio's outing tonight. I think Julio, it was very similar to his outing on opening day, where command was a little off early on, wasn't as pristine as we're used to seeing it with Julio, and then he really settled down and made light work of it. I mean, he ends up going 6 innings, allowed no runs on 5 hits, had 6 punch-outs, 87 pitches, and, yeah, around 14.5 pitches per inning, 60 for strikes. So, yeah, first 3 innings, 53 pitches, and then he really started to settle down. Give me your Julio Urias grades, and then we're going to break down his outing and the other key plays in tonight's game. The Dodgers, they get the dub 5-2 over the Rockies. They're 4-2 on the year. And yeah, the big question tonight, are they a little too home run happy? Is the bullpen continuing to look a little shaky? I think this bullpen is looking a little shaky. It was a much better night for Brusdar Graterol, though, I will say that. Doug Wordsmith McCain. What up, David Sabatini over on YouTube? Justin, Doug, there's a reason why Kyle Schwarber hit leadoff for Philly last season, because he slugged. Yeah, I mean, hey, there you go. Leadoff home runs definitely are great. They can set the tone, but I also think, too, you have to consider the entire construction of the roster. And look, I mean, think about Mookie too. I mean, I'm totally fine with Mookie being a leadoff hitter because that's where he wants to hit. But I mean, for him, on base percentage has been down. The slug has been up. His speed, really, he's right. I mean, he's just slightly above average when it comes to speed. It's not like he's a big speed guy. Hasn't stolen 30 bases since like 2018. So yeah, I'm just saying at some point you're going to see Mookie move down in the lineup. But and then that could be a good thing because he's added more slug to his game. So the idea is not to move Mookie down because he's bad or anything. It's just because Mookie provides that pop and he provides that power. So Urias has Boris as his agent. He wants free agency. Actually, Doug, are you drinking milk? Man, I'm just drinking some Arrowhead water tonight. Nothing too crazy. Chug McCain after the game, though. I'm going to crush some Pacificos. Verdell Newsome, bullpen guys are just pitchers who couldn't cut it as a starter, as the saying goes, right, Verdell? Because of their lack of good control, I don't trust bullpen guys at all. Yeah, I mean, Andrew Wall, hey, yo, Will Smith, you're on fire, dog. But thanks for your work you put in, D-Mac. You're the best. Hey, man, hey, Will Smith, look, there's a video of me interviewing him during spring training. There is footage and video evidence that we are not the same person, or that could have been a clone. You never know. But Munchie, that's your player of the game. So player of the game for Andres, he has Jason Hayward. Brahmar has Munchie. I think for me, when you consider he started the season 1 for 16, when you consider that he really should have added another walk and he hits that home run, I'm going to go with Max Muncy for tonight. Max Muncy is my player of the game. They will have to go pay big bucks for Julio Urias. That's from Diane Schroeder. Yeah, I think that if he can put together a season similar to the ones we've seen in 2021 and 2022, where he was right in that Cy Young mix, he was very durable, top 10 season in the league, I think he's looking at a $200 million payday. But I also think, too, it can go a lot of different ways for Julio, because if he dominates in the postseason, I think you could see it go up to 250 and above. So, yeah, he has a lot of money to earn this season. Every time he gets a strikeout, every time he has a big game, you can hear that cash register going off the cha-ching every single time. Extend Will Smith, Will W. Hey, what did I say a few weeks ago? I said if Will Smith was on the Braves, he would already sign a 7-year deal. So, yeah, keep it coming, DMAC. Yes, we got glad Mookie was okay. That was a scare. Yeah, any update on Mookie, let me know down below. Vargas leadoff. Interesting. I mean, Vargas on base machine. I mean, if you look at Miguel Vargas, the plate discipline, I mean, he just has an uncanny feel for the zone for a player his age. It's so impressive to see Mickey Vargas in the box, and really he hasn't even taken off as a hitter just yet, and I think that he's absolutely going to do that, but he's still leading the league with 9 walks, and really got the 8 at-bats there, so it's kind of insane. So if you look at those plate appearances, I mean, that's really, really impressive in just 5 games and 3 strikeouts. So, yeah, it's definitely something that's going to play up for him. And also, too, I mean, I've been impressed with James Outman. I mean, James Outman has been better at just laying on pitches. I mean, his pitch recognition, I think, has improved. But, yeah, let's talk more about Julio Urias' night, and then we'll get into some more key plays, because the Dodgers – in the second inning, Rockies had runners in scoring position early on Julio. Daza cranked a 1-out double to third. Then Julio comes back to strike out Bryant for the second out on a 4-seam fastball up in the zone. Then next batter, Julio fell behind 3-0, and he comes back to get Crone to foul out to the catcher for the third out. So top of the second, then the top of the second, 8-pitch. That's the first inning. Then top of the second, 8-pitch at bat. McMahon, he hits one to center for the first out. Then a fastball, just a little up. Then he gets Diaz to ground to short for the second out, and then with a Rocky in scoring position and 2 outs, he strikes out Trejo with the cutter to get out of the jam. So, yeah, 6 punch-outs tonight. You saw him use that cutter again, and that cutter is going to be a weapon, especially against righties, a harder pitch, and it's something he's been working on during spring training, and to see him put that into use and be effective with it so quickly, it's nothing short of impressive by the Urias. So, yeah, I mean, to me, he could be even better this year with that cutter. How's everyone doing? That's from Bongfoot. Who saw the Lakers game? Yeah, a crazy Laker game. Cardiac Lakers from David. Muncy at third has been scary. Cowboys 5 rings. We need a third baseman. Trade for Nolan Arenado. Nando 390. He seems pretty happy down with the St. Louis Cardinals. But yeah, I mean, hey, third base, that's the thing, man. Third baseman is really kind of a weak position as far as after you get past the Jose Ramirez's, after you get past the Manny Machado's and the Nolan Arenado's. But we need Carlos, but I don't think he's apologized yet. Until it happens, I'll think about it. But yeah, no, that's not going to be happening. He's going to be with the Twins for a long time. Muncy looks lost. That's from Diane Schroeder. Will Butane pitch again this year? I mean, he's already started throwing, and I think that if anyone can come back as quickly as he can, as anyone can come back in time to pitch in the postseason, it is Walker Buehler. It's his second time undergoing Tommy John surgery. He knows the routine. He knows all the work you have to put in. And I think if he does come back, you could see him as a guy that could come out of the bullpen. And I hope that some of that velocity returns. That's what I'm looking for, because towards the end, he was throwing 96, maybe 97. I mean, the game he got injured, but before that, I mean, that's when he was really, it felt like he was kind of overthrowing that game against the Giants. So, yeah, I think hopefully he can return, but it's not a guarantee, that's for sure. Whereas, I mean, typically you're looking at the timetable of around 16 months. At around 16 months for Tommy John surgery, and they of course don't want to rush guys back, so we'll see. I mean, but he has talked about where he's at in his recovery. So yeah, he said he's feeling pretty good out there, and that he's on track to throw right around that 6-month mark. So yeah, I mean, the second one, they say, though, it can be a longer process. But, yeah, as far as strength, as far as velocity and recovery of Tommy John surgery, it can be anywhere from 12 to 15 months. And if Walker comes back close to the 15-month mark, yeah, I mean, that's probably not going to happen. But if it's the 12-month mark or the 13-month mark, yeah, it is something that's possible. So we'll see, but it's something that I don't think the Dodgers should rely on. It should be just a bonus, icing on the cake if possible, but I would not rely upon it. We saw how that impacted the Dodgers last year. But None220 over on YouTube asks, Chase Wembanyama, thanks to you, Doug. Appreciate you, brother. Hey, Chase Wembanyama. I probably did not say that correctly, but I apologize. But you win 80% of the games. You're out homing your opponent. Yeah, exactly. Finally, a post-game show after a win. That's from Seth Gribble. Yeah, that's definitely not intentional. I definitely prefer the wins, guys. It's fun when the Dodgers win. So a B-, that's your grade for Julio Urias. That's from A Dunks. Yeah, throw out your grades for Julio Urias' start tonight. This team is well built. That's from Isaiah over on YouTube. Diane gives Julio a B+. Mookie sucks at stealing now. That's from Michael Carrillo. I mean, look, that's the thing. I think there's this perception about Mookie Betts that he's some Ricky Henderson, some elite base stealer, some Maury Will, something like that. That's just not the player he is. I mean, from a hitting standpoint, he brings the dynamic that is elite. There's no question about that. But yeah, Mookie Betts as a base stealer, he's not that guy. Last time he stole 30 bases was in 2018. He's done that once in his career. Other than that, 26 stolen bases in 2017, 26 in 2016. His career high stolen bases with the Dodgers is 12, and that was last season. So, yeah, that's just that's probably not a recipe for a guy that's going to steal a lot of bases. But he gets good jumps. He makes good reads, though. His base running skills definitely play up. You saw that in the World Series. You saw that in the 2020 NLDS, the double steal he manufactured. You saw him getting under tags there. But, yeah, in his sprint speed, Mookie Betts, he's in the 44th percentile. So he doesn't even have league average speed at this point. So, yeah, you guys know I bring my facts to the fight. So that's just the reality. Mookie Betts is not some lightning quick guy there. But here we go down below in the comment section. Keep finding a way, guys. I want those grades for Julio Urias, and any hot takes, anything you got, come bring it my way. Deborah Young. Doug Mookie said he twisted his ankle, but he's good. Deborah Young, I appreciate you rocking with us from Florida, by the way. How's A.J. Pollock's season going so far with the Mariners? But, yeah, so we'll see. Maybe Mookie misses some time. And, look, you're already seeing early on this season the injury bug. Now, one of them, Miguel Vargas, that was a freak accident. He gets hit in the thumb. We talked about it earlier, but Tony Gonsolin, he hurts his ankle. He said things are progressing well for him. We should see him 2-3 weeks, hopefully, something like that. And he needs to get built up and he needs to get stretched out to be at that 5-inning mark. So that's the biggest key for him. But Rojas already out with a groin injury. And a lot of these are knick-knack, but they start to build up and your body starts compensating and it leads to bigger injuries. So it's interesting. Anthony Hollywood Lifestyle, Rendon, Pay the Urias. That's from Juice Narrows. What up, Juice Narrows? Always rock with us, man. The Urias, yeah, give Urias all the money, man. I think he's a guy that means more than just what he does on the field. I think his impact on Los Angeles and how he's really, I think, turning into an iconic Dodger. I mean, when I think of the 2020 World Series, he's the first guy I think of, not only because of what he did out of the bullpen, how lights out he was, but also just because he got that final out and you see him looking and just cheering and going crazy, him with the Mexico flag after. I mean, those are some of the moments that I cherish from that World Series. And also, he's still very young. He's a guy that 27 years old. The Dodgers, you can invest in that. I think the Dodgers wouldn't consider it if he was over 30, but I think the fact that he still is very young and should have a lot of tread on the tires, I think makes it a possibility. And it could be one of those rare exceptions where Andrew Friedman does go out there and he does pay a pitcher long term, because they have been letting guys walk. They let Seager walk. They didn't really go after Trey Turner that aggressively, even though it was pretty well known he was going to go back east. So there are some examples, but bring on Brian Reynolds. I think that's a Reynolds wrap at this point. I mean, also you got James Outman. I mean, I think the Dodgers should get some infield help, if anything. I think really infield bat that could really hit for contact like a Tim Anderson type would, to me, fit the bill. And also, too, Reynolds, I mean, if you look at the contract he's after, if you look at the fact that he signed that extension that has the identical $13.5 million per year contract numbers, and the fact that he goes back, he's under team control for 3 more seasons. So, yeah, I mean, you have to give up a lot to give him. I mean, not quite a Juan Soto level package, but maybe close to it when you consider the start that he's on, when you consider that it's so early in the season. The Dodgers don't have very much leverage. So, yeah, I don't anticipate a Brian Reynolds move right now. Things can change, and we'll see. If it falls apart completely with the Pirates, the Dodgers do make sense as far as a trade partner if they do want to go that direction. But I think they're still in the process, the Dodgers, of assessing who is James Outman. Is he the real deal? Because, first of all, defensively, the jumps he gets on balls is so impressive. And like I've said on the show, I believe in James Outman the same way that Mr. Miyagi believed in Daniel LaRusso. And I think that you got to believe in this guy because defensively, you can trust that. It's a quality. He makes things look easy. He's smooth out there. He's getting jumps. He's making reads. He's making sliding catches, and he plays the position with a physicality and a certain level of athleticism that you want to see. And if you do have a dude, you don't want to part ways with some of those big prospect chips for a center fielder if you don't have to. So, look, you consider the value of having a guy under team control for a long time. That's definitely a premium. So a B+ from Craig A. That Craig 23. We got home run is a 3-point play in basketball. I like that, Craig Osterberg. That's a good comment tonight. Julio A- has from Chargers 420. We got the Dodgers murdered Inc., a Giants fan. Okay, I'll give Julio a B+. So yeah, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Julio's outing there in the top of the third, because that is where it got a little dicey, because he really got himself into some serious trouble. So he allows back-to-back singles to start the third, first to Tovar and then to Profar, and then Daza reaches on a bunt up the third base line. Muncy playing on the edges of the grass, and he hesitated. He didn't make that first step, didn't jump on that. He thought maybe Urias was going to field it for a minute, but it was a bunt play that worked against the Dodgers once again. I was getting nightmares of Sunday when we saw the perfectly laid drag bunt there by McCarthy, and we saw Brusdar struggle to make that play. And yeah, the bunt has really burned the Dodgers early on this season. Unfortunately, Julio Urias was an escape artist. He was Harry Houdini out there. Like I tweet out, really, he's one of the best in the league when it comes to facing the meat of the order of the opposition. 3, 4, and 5 hitters are hitting .241 against him over the past 3 seasons. That's top 3 in the game. And then on a 3-2 pitch, Called strike 3. He froze Chris Bryant, gets the punch out there and for the first out. And then Max sort of redeems himself when they turn the double play. Bases loaded, no outs. He struck out Chris Bryant there. Then 0-1 pitch. He gets Cron to ground into an inning double play. Use that changeup, bottom of the zone, induces that soft contact, and he gets the twin killing the pitcher's best friend, and the Dodgers escape out of that inning. And then the 4th inning, a home run from Jason Heyward. Heyward hammered that one. Jason hammered that one out, and it was a really great pitch to hit, and he just took it, and he absolutely scorched that baseball. 112.7 miles per hour off the bat. That made it 3-0 Dodgers. It was a fastball middle, and anytime Heyward's going to get a mistake like that, he has to punish that mistake, and he did just that. So Heyward hammered that one, and that gave the Dodgers that 3-0 lead. Then bottom of the 4th inning, Max Muncy hits the Dodgers' 13th home run of the season. First home run for Max, first RBI of the year, and it was just the 3rd home run of the night for the Dodgers. So you had Will Smith early, you had Jason Heyward earlier, then you had Max Muncy there in the bottom of the 4th inning. That put the Dodgers up 4-0. And by the way, that was the 22nd career home run against the Rockies for Mad Max, and that's the most against any opponent. He actually passed his total against the San Francisco Giants. He had 21 against San Francisco. So there's this perception out there that Max Muncy is the owner of the San Francisco Giants, which he is. So I'm going to go edit that Wikipedia page right now. But also, he also owns the NL West. Lots of success against the D-backs, the Giants, the Padres, and the Rockies. Then Julio, he got into cruise control. After the Daza bunt there in the 3rd, Julio retired 11 straight Rockies, and he finished his night. Then the bottom of the 6th, Dodgers had a chance to add some insurance runs, but we're going to get back into this comment section. We'll keep breaking it all down. Give me your big takeaways from tonight. I still have some of my big takeaways to give you guys, but Ohtani needs to be on a deep team. We need Julio too. Angels haven't won squat with Ohtani. Need more than one ace. That's from Cowboys 5 rings. Yeah, I mean, the Angels haven't sniffed the postseason. The Dodgers have been in the postseason the last 10 seasons. The Dodgers have built this team through their farm system, through selective free agent signings, through trades that they ended up working out, through reclamation projects, to taking flyers on guys like Max Muncy, who no one wanted, and turning him into an all-star. Chris Taylor, who really no one wanted, really a trade for Zach Lee that no one really thought about. It was an afterthought. They turned him into an all-star. So, yeah, if I'm Shohei Ohtani and I want to win now, this is the franchise for me. We know the Japanese players, they prefer to spend time on the West Coast because of the travel. He's already familiar with Southern California. We know the Dodgers scouted him when he was in high school, and that, look, it was good because, look, Dodgers really didn't want him to be a pitcher and a hitter, and now he's proven that he can do that, and I think that this would make a lot of sense. So I agree with you. But Don Julio, I like that. Avocados at the comment of the night. Don Julio, a solid B. Moose, 1032 Outman, good times. Can we re-sign Julio and still have the money for Ohtani? That's from Adam 818. That would be a lot of money, man. I mean, you're talking about a potential $700+ million off season. I mean, that would be just insane. I mean, if you look at the money that was spent with Seager and the Texas Rangers a couple years ago with Simeon and Seager, and you saw what Stephen Cohen has done. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be only the big major markets that are going to go after these two, but I think if it happened, it'd be great. I just think it could be unlikely. I think the Padres could be in the mix at some point for either Julio or for Ohtani, so maybe they grab one of them. The Dodgers grab the other one. We'll see if the Mets are going to land one of these guys, if the Mets are just going to go out there and hand out blank checks. Because if they do that, and you saw, look, just Max Scherzer, who gave 3 home runs today, the second best offer for Max Scherzer was like $73 million. It's $80 million. Mets signed him for $130 million. The Mets are essentially bidding against themselves at this point, and I think teams are going to realize that, yeah, I mean, the Mets are kind of loading up with some older players, and Will they just go out there and keep paying the Stephen Cohen tax each and every year? I kind of highly doubt they will. So, yeah, it's pretty much a topic for another show, but you guys always know how to bait me into some free agent conversations because I eat that stuff up. But let's go, Christian. Speaking my language, Dodgers need a hype man in the dugouts from Fish Tank Frank. I think they're fine. I think the clubhouse leadership has improved. I think guys like Miguel Rojas, they respect him. And also, too, I will say that they're very different in the dugout than they are in the clubhouse. The clubhouse, they're a little more loose. They're a little more fun. You see more smiles. You see guys messing with each other. In the dugout, they're very focused. And look, if good things are happening, you're going to see guys start to have some fun. But look, it's still very early. This team has a lot of new faces. David Peralta is a guy that has personality. I think the young guys, they're going to embrace anything these veterans want them to do. So I think that as this team builds chemistry and gels, you're going to see this team have more fun, especially if they continue to win at the clip they're on. But bring back Kike, Cowboys 5 rings. Let's go D-Mac. What up, Ghost Cat 69? Muncy really needed that. Yeah, BC. Definitely one of the big takeaways tonight is Max Muncy absolutely needed the night he had started the year 1 for 16 with 9 strikeouts, not having very much luck, getting squeezed a little bit. Tonight, he goes 2 for 4 and really should have drew another walk there late. But Tyler Clark says back up the Brinks truck. Back of the Brinks up signing Boris's client, but Julio might be worth it. Yeah, where is Miller and where is Stone, DKM? Yeah, it's still early on. I mean, Gavin Stone, he really kind of got roughed up in his first start, went 2 2/3 innings, struggled with command. And Bobby Miller's a guy who didn't even pitch during spring training or make a spring training start. He was dealing with some injuries, and they're really kind of slow playing him. So it's going to be quite some time. But Doc already told me that we're going to see Bobby Miller at some point this season. He already told other reporters that we're going to see Gavin Stone this season. So just be patient. They're still in the lab. They're still in that slow cooker, just marinating. And I'm sure you're going to see them before you even know it. But BC Shohei will sign for $50 to $60 million a year. Yeah, but jump to that bottom of the 6th inning. Freeman drew a leadoff walk. Will Smith grounded into a fielder's choice for the first out. And then Muncy struck out swinging on a slider low and away. And then Martinez, he drew a 2-out walk. And then Thompson pinch hitting for Peralta on a 3-2 pitch. He flew to center for the 3rd out. So there was the move right there. Thompson goes up there versus a lefty. You want to see him having success. Pretty solid at bat. Gave it a ride, but it goes as an out. So Dodgers had an opportunity there to add some insurance runs, but weren't able to capitalize. And then Caleb Ferguson was in to pitch the 7th, and then Montero, he reached on an error by Max Muncy. We saw that. We talked about that at third base. And then Freddie Freeman, double play. A great stretch there by Freddie Freeman to make that happen. An outstanding job by Freddie. You saw the backhand play that Chris Taylor made at shortstop. Didn't have time to set his feet. Really nice dig there by Freddie Freeman to get low and catch that one, and then finish off that double play to end the inning. It was a 4-6-3 double play. So, yeah, really nice job, Betts. They did a really nice job, Betts to Taylor to Freeman. So 3rd double play started by Betts too, since he's been playing shortstop. So that was nice. And then Ferguson walks Diaz on 5 pitches. And he was a little erratic. He was missing all over with fastball command, but then finally gets Trejo to pop to second. So Ferguson is one guy for his grade tonight. I'm going to give him a B-. B- because the error definitely affected him out there on the mound, but his command has been off early on. He's missing arm side high with the fastball, and yeah, he's a guy who really needs to tighten up his command. Julio, by the way, I'm going to give him a B+. A- for a lot of pitchers. I'll give him it was scoreless ball, the way he worked out of jams. I'm going to go A- for Julio Urias, but his standard is so high, still gives you a quality start, so that's my grade for Julio. And then bottom of the 8th, Betts doubled to center. Freeman drew a walk. 1-1 pitch. Will Smith doubled to right to score Betts to make it 5-0 Dodgers. The next batter, Max Muncy, struck out on a curveball that was clearly outside. A terrible call by Jordan Baker. Then we saw the calls to J.D. Martinez, the calls to Trayce Thompson. Really one of the worst umped innings I've seen this season early on, but the Dodgers, they were able to at least get 1 run, and really the big takeaway from that inning is Mookie rounding the bases. Deborah told us earlier that it was reported that Mookie hurt his ankle there a little bit, so he clearly wasn't at full speed. Freddie Freeman looked like he was going to catch up on him, but yeah, he was able to. Hopefully, they'll avoid anything serious, but we'll see how it feels tomorrow morning. That's kind of the biggest key for those types of injuries. And then they made it a little more interesting than they really needed to there in the ninth inning coming out. And Phil Bigford, we kind of broke that inning down. We broke that inning down earlier in the show. Phil Bigford came out there with the ninth inning, and he wasn't able to finish things off. And, yeah, you're seeing kind of the effects of the Dodgers just not having that defined closer. And, yeah, if you looked at the double he gave up to Bryant, that's a fastball, not the worst pitch, but caught a little too much of the plate, 92 miles per hour. He did strike out Crone. He got him swing on a slider. That was one of his better pitches today. When he has the feel for that slider, he's able to get a lot of nice horizontal movement on it, but too much slugging. That's really the big takeaway for Phil Bigford. The Phil Billy was too much slugging against him because Montero, on a 1-2 pitch, he doubled another fastball, heart of the plate. He has to avoid the heart of the plate. He has to kind of work the edges, and that's how he's going to be able to have success. And then he just kind of lost it against McMahon, issues a 5-pitch walk, and yeah, you saw him missing glove side, arm side there with that fastball, and on the strike look, he kind of left that heart of the plate, so he really made a mistake there that McMahon wasn't able to capitalize on. That Evan Phillips comes in, first pitch, he comes in and he hits the batter there. He hits Diaz by the pitch, and yeah, that was that gives the Dodgers a little bit of trouble there. And then Moustakas, he hit that sacrifice fly to left, that made it 5-2, and then thankfully we saw him go to that sinker. And then you saw him go to that sinker and get that soft contact to get Blackmon to ground to first to end the game. But the Dodgers get the win nonetheless, 5-2. They're 4-2 on the year. Are they too home run happy? That's going to be something we're going to monitor early on. But some of the other big takeaways, yeah, like I was saying, the do damage Dodgers. 37 runs scored this season, over 60% come via that home run ball where they've gone deep 13 times. But Hayward, really nice start for him, hit the ball hard, had another home run. Max Muncy, we've talked about him quite a bit tonight. He had another nice night. Also, too, before we head out of here, I wanted to point out, too, because we always got to point out when guys struggle. We also have to point out when they have a nice night. And it was a much better night there from Brusdar Graterol. I thought Brusdar, he came in, he handled the eighth. Made light work, had a 1-2-3 inning on 6 pitches. Also, he finally threw a slider. So it was nice to see him throw a slider there to Profar. And yes, he was off command-wise, but it's definitely going to be pivotal to his growth as a pitcher. But yeah, if you guys want to drop some final takes, we're going to head out of here on this one. But your Dodgers get the dub, and we'll be back off game tomorrow, but we'll probably be back for Thursday. We got SD going to choke. We haven't hit enough base hits. We have been very home run happy. Yeah, that'll come hopefully. And I think we'll see as far as the roster goes if they address that in any way. Dodgers are the real Padres. I like that from Christian Reyes. Jake Cronenworth probably is their next best player, but the Crone Zone. Hi from Daz in Australia. Looking forward to my first Dodgers game in May. Well, Darren, that's going to be exciting. But yeah, guys, if you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and be sure to tell all your friends, drop those comments, hit that like button. And as always, guys, my name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at DMac_LA. Be sure to follow me over there. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to look out for those interviews I got dropping with Jose Mota. I got an interview with Alana Rizzo tomorrow, too, so be on the lookout for those. But thanks again for joining us here on the Dodgers Nation post-game show. LA gets the dub. Remember, nothing brings us together nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.